What's going on, everybody? Wilson here, Spiritual Hype Man. I'm super happy to be back, and I'm sitting here with my good friend Rob Woods. Hey, what's up, Rob?
Hey, what's happening, everybody?
That's right. Where are we at right now, Rob? Just give the viewers a little.
We are sitting in a classic 1978 172N, so a little four-seat airplane, and we're sitting at a hangar at Flagler Executive Airport. We're watching airplanes take off.
That's right.
And hanging out.
That's right. Thanks for the invite.
Yeah, we're not flying today. It's a little windy and it's a little cold.
That's right.
So we're not gonna fly today.
No, that would be the next episode for sure. But I appreciate your invite. Our good friend Rob is. We met. All right. Let's do this because there's gonna be some people that are listening, new listeners.
Sure.
So we'll just break it down. Nothing changes until you do. Obviously, it's a podcast. I think it's a movement. I also think you recently heard the framework, and so the framework is the thought is. Influence creates thoughts. Thoughts create emotion. Emotion drive an action or inaction, which are decisions that lead us to an outcome. And so I think my concept of what I'd like to do in life is just share that framework to get people connected and understand how easily or how simple it can be to really understand the process of making a change when they find themselves in an outcome they're not happy with.
Yeah. Love it.
Yeah. So. That being said, Rob, tell us a little something for the viewers that don't know you or haven't listened. Give us a little background of who you are. I remember you talked about in BNI, and I met you at BNI, which is a great organization of like-minded people with their small business or medium business, large business, doesn't matter what type of business.
Yep.
I met you. I thought you were awesome. I thought the way you spoke, there was something about you. There was an energy. And then recently you had shared a little bit of your personal story of how you grew up, and then where you are now, it's completely different, right? And so I'd love to maybe tap in a little bit into that. If you give us a little bit of, where you started, how you started, what you're doing now, how do you own an airplane?
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. So I have a long history, and it's kind of a long and winding road. I was one of those. I was the youngest of in a huge family. So 13 years between me and my youngest brother. So all of my siblings are retired. I'm the only one that's still out in the workforce, killing it. But I was the only one of my siblings that moved away. Okay. So I graduated high school in 94 and I joined the workforce and was kind of looking for direction. I became a medic early and was working for an ambulance service, and I needed something different. I felt like I was from a one streetlight town with 6,500 people. I graduated with 160 people. Not a very diverse area. Yeah.
Where's that at?
It was in upstate New York, a little town called Hudson Falls, the village of Hudson Falls. And so I joined the military Christmas Day of 96 to escape.
That's crazy.
And to get away. And it was not about my family, and it wasn't about the area because I loved where I lived. It was about, I felt like I just had so much more to offer, and college wasn't my thing at the time, and I just felt like I needed to do something kind of radical to change things up. There was another guy I was a medic with that he joined the Coast Guard, and I was like, why did you do that? And he's like, there's no other path for me to leave, to do something and feel supported. And I was like, I think that was just a little switch. So this one offhanded conversation with another guy turned into, why don't I go figure something out?
Perspective and then to your thought, right?
Yeah, for sure.
Some thoughts.
So cool. Then I went in to see the Navy recruiter, and I showed up, and the Navy recruiter was at lunch, and the Air Force guy was there, and he goes, hey, well, come on and talk to me. And I said, well, what is that all about? He goes, you're going to take the ASVAB in every service. Doesn't matter which one you're going into. Yeah. But why don't you take the ASVAB and I'll see where you are, and then we can decide what service you want to be in. Yeah. And I was like, all right, let's do that. So I scored high in mechanical reasoning, and I abandoned being a medic and joined the Air Force as an F-15 crew chief working on airplanes. So I worked on jets for 11 years, met my wife at my first duty station, and we had 2 kids. And while I was in the military, I served as a trainer at Shepherd Air Force Base and became an educator, and that's kind of how I got my start. I got my bachelor's degree in education with a specialization in business. Yeah. And then moved back to North Carolina, and in North Carolina became an entrepreneur, and I owned a erosion control hydro seeding business, and I worked in real estate. My wife was in real estate, and I got out of the military in 2007, and then the market fell apart in 2008. Yeah. So we went from being debt-free and in a really good place in our life to I had to go take a job as a night manager of the food distribution warehouse to make ends meet. And then I moved over to Target as a logistics exec, and I hated retail. And so we were coming down here to visit. My mother-in-law lived at Flagler Beach at the time, and we were coming down to visit, and I threw an application into Daytona State College and said, hey, I'm coming to town, and if you want an interview, this is your opportunity.
Well,
and they called me back and said, can you see us Tuesday morning at 10 o'clock? And at 10:05, they were getting the I-9 paperwork and offered me the job. And I took a part-time job teaching GED at the maximum security prison down in Tomoka, down in Daytona.
well,
So I taught inside the prison for a year as a contract employee, and that contract went away. And while I was there, I finished my master's degree, an MBA in business, and then a post-grad certificate in leadership and organizational development. And I was a contractor for a church at the time, and I was just kind of making ends meet. And a job came open to be a professional facilitator of leadership and supervisory skills for Department of Homeland Security. And I joined that company and got on the road, and I was teaching 35 weeks a year.
well,
And then became an executive coach, and then eventually I took over that directorate as kind of the program manager over all those programs. And I did that for 8 years. And then
how old are you? 100?
I am 49.
I was trying to count all these things, man. That's crazy.
Yeah.
That's crazy cool. Yeah, and I feel like that's sort of part of your superpower, right? We were talking about that earlier.
Oh, yeah.
You have like what'd you call it?
Oh, I have extreme ADHD, but it is my superpower.
It's your superpower.
It is.
It's crazy.
Because once something captivates my energy and attention,
Yeah, you're all in.
it is all I can do.
Yeah.
And that's all I think about
Yeah.
until I can either achieve it or and get something from it, or it's
Yeah.
time to move on. Like, I don't read for fun, I read for outcome.
Yeah.
I don't
Yes.
I don't put energy into
similar.
anything that I'm not going to get a dramatic ROI.
I like that. I like that. I think I'm getting better at trying to understand the ROI, because like before I had a lot of energy too, right?
Yeah.
I'm trying to less scatter it, and then just be focused. So yeah, that's very good.
My problem is I get in the middle. I'm a Myers-Briggs practitioner. In Myers-Briggs, there's different personalities. I'm ENTP, which is extroverted intuitive thinking, and I process information. I'm an extrovert, and I process my intuitive nature. So what comes out of my mouth is possibility, and vision, and where I want to go, and it's forward thinking,
Yep.
and it's generally not in the past.
Right.
So
Correct.
what that leads to is big ideas, lots of action, but I'm not the detail guy.
Yeah.
So then it's either I need to find someone to strategically fill the holes in the details to make things happen,
Yes.
or I
Type
have
in
to,
chat.
or I have to find another outlet.
Yeah. I'm right there with you.
So it's either, so like you asked about flying. Ethan, our oldest, is 25, and he was graduating high school, and he didn't want to go to college. And I said, look, you can become a pilot without a degree. Are you interested? And he was like, yeah, I'm interested. And I said, well, why don't I'll do it with you. We'll do it in lockstep. I'll study, you'll study, we'll do it. I have an extreme fear of heights, and it was a rough go at first. And we got to the place where we were going to solo and fly without an instructor, and Ethan wasn't really committed to the bookwork, which makes you safe.
Right.
And because that was my all in at the moment, I was ready for everything. I was ready to go. So he dropped out of flight school, and I just kept going.
Wow.
So then I finished my private pilot certificate, and then was like, well, let's, during COVID, I had a boat and in the backyard, and Stacy said, well, my wife of 26 years.
Shout out to Stacy.
Yeah, that's right. And she said, you can't have two things. You can either have the boat or a plane. Like, you got to make a decision. And so we sold the boat for a profit, which you never do, but COVID was crazy.
Wow.
And then we bought a plane, and then I got my instrument certificate, my instrument rating, so I can fly through clouds and things. And now I'm currently working on my commercial rating. But flying is something that it's one of the only things in the world that when you're doing it, there's not another thing in the world more important than what you're doing in the moment.
Wow. And I feel like for you and similar type people in terms of that same mind, it's probably such a like, maybe not relief is the word, but like a moment where you're like, right? Because like your brain's always going, right?
Yeah, and you become hyper focused,
Right.
and then you're hyper focused on, did I plan everything properly, and what's my route going to be, and what's the weather going to be, and what are the hazards that are in the way, and
right.
what are
So
the steps?
Those are still firing, but it's one single.
Yeah, what's the next step in the process? Like they clear you for an approach to an airport, and you have to worry about, well, is it loaded properly, and is the airplane set up properly? What's the autopilot going to do, and what's the minimum altitude I got to be at, and what's the step down fix, and who am I talking to next, and what's my next frequency, and what happens if things go wrong, and what are my next steps? Yeah. So you're briefing in your head, and there's never a moment where your brain's quiet. Right. But what I'm not worried about is bills, and relationships, in business, and like everything else just falls to the wayside. Correct. So, wow. Okay. So flying introduces a ton of anxiety, but it also challenges me in a way that nothing else does, because I'm overcoming a fear. I'm exercising my brain differently. I'm using different skills that I don't use anywhere else. Yeah, right. And then I listen to podcasts that help me to be better. I watch every wreck video of a debrief of every pilot accident that happens in general aviation. Wow. Like I invest in. Yeah, you're all in. Yeah, well, but if you're gonna fly with this fear, the only way to get over that fear is to be more competent and to be more well prepared. Yeah. So when I talk to my flight instructor, I don't talk to him about getting the rating. I talk to him about, I want to be so confident that I have the ability to put this airplane down on whatever piece of pavement or grass that I need to. I want to be that good so that I'm that confident, so that I don't have to have the anxiety. Right. Or I don't have to have the other thoughts. Yeah. 100%. Like the airplane could not fall apart, but it could stop running. Right. And then, most people think, an airplane stops running, it just falls out of the sky. Well, you can, in this airplane, we could be at 8,000 feet over the beach, and we could land on runway 24 with no engine. Yeah, kind of gliding. No problem. Yeah, right. This flies, so it's 9 to 1. So you go 9 feet forward for every foot that it drops. Okay. Yeah. See, so do the math. So math people out there. That's how I think about it. Yeah, that's what you calculate. Yeah. So it's So anyway, I've kind of have this long story that kind of leads me here. I've been a senior manager for Western Governors University now for 10 years. And that's where we left off, and we kind of kind of diverted. So you were able to become the head of that department? I was, yeah. And then TSA decided they were going to move their training in-house. We were doing multi-million dollars a year with TSA and Homeland Security, and they decided that they were going to start up basically an academy approach to their leadership training, bring their stuff in-house. And in the federal government, you get rewarded if you can build a big kingdom and a big budget that supports that. That's just how they think. So knowing that was going away, I wrote myself out of the budget. So 5 other employees got to keep their jobs. So I wrote myself out. I wrote a transition plan. I gave them notice, and they said, well, will you stay for 6 more months part-time? And I was like, sure, I can stay to keep the lights on, whatever I got to do. And I went back to medic school. I was starting over. Wow. And I was going to go back. I said, look, what were you going through mentally at that point? All right, because I feel like sometimes we tell our stories, and we tell it like through that one. Like, what else, like, at that moment, were you guys like, what are we going to do? Like, what was that kind of like? Stacy takes care of all the money. Yeah. She could be a billionaire. I have no idea. She could billions of dollars. She could, but she takes care of all the money, and I always have 3 or 4 things going at a time. I didn't grow up. My parents worked really hard. Neither of them finished high school. They didn't carry debt and have any credit until they were in their late 40s. They didn't buy their first house till they were in their 40s. So I grew up really humble. I grew up in an environment where I started working at 10, cutting grass for school clothes and those kinds of things. Make your extra money. So I've always had a couple of irons in the fire, always. So even that's how I met my wife. She was. Wait, I'm going to keep asking, where did that come from? Right? Because I want to kind of relate it to the influence, thought, emotion. Sure. Like, so where did that come from? Like,
was it innate? Did you were like maybe a lack? Was there a need?
There was not a lack
Right.
or a need. It was, I live in a village, right?
Uh-huh.
Well, we're living in a rental house that is next door to a teacher in my school, and at the corner was the gym coach in our school,
Yeah.
and down the street was the town's attorney, and next to them was our tennis coaches, and across the street from them was the sheriff. But I lived in this nice, quaint village street, and everyone around us had a degree, or they were affluent in our community, and they were giving back into our community all the time.
Wow.
So I worked for the town's attorney, cutting his grass and things. Then I became a clerk in his law office when I was like 13.
Okay.
So I clerked for him until I graduated high school.
Okay.
It was his weekend. I typed and I made copies and I did binders and stuff for court. And so it was, I didn't grow up without. My family did awesome to support us. I just never wanted to be in a position with my family that we ever had to go without. So I was always thinking about what is the next opportunity or what's coming up so that my family would never be in a position of needing anything.
Right.
Like I've always wanted to be a police officer my entire life, but every time an opportunity presented itself, I'm a firm believer the Lord shut that door every single time and offered me something else that put another brick onto where I am today.
Very good.
So I think that it wasn't a need. It was out of, I don't ever want to be in that position. So I'm always trying to outwork.
Yeah. So it was more not a need, but more of like, I guess like a future, like what you said, you're ultimately like you're kind of wired that way to see what your future ROI or your outcome is going to be.
Yeah. So I love your model, by the way.
Thank you.
And I've heard it on the podcast, and I saw it at Phil's event last week. I thought presenting in person was super engaging. I loved it. And I was like, hey, I'll give you CNAC one of these days.
Yeah.
Well, is now a good time?
Provide
so
so
you built this model out, and then you went back and you were like, let's reverse engineer it.
Yeah.
That really spoke to me because it was about, well, how can I employ it or how can I do something different? I think about it through a different lens. I think about it through the lens of your experiences and where you come from build your belief system. And your belief system dictate your behavior and where you're going to go.
100%.
And then your behavior drives your outcome. And then those outcomes shape new experiences for you that make that cycle turn over again.
Yeah, correct.
So I believe that if you're going to break the cycle, you can't break the cycle because you can't break the cycle in experience because that's where you are and where you came from.
Right.
Your belief system can be challenged, but if you're going to hijack that, you have to hijack it through behavior. And you have to behave your way out of a problem, or you have to behave your way out of the cycle to create a new experience so that you can change your belief system so that you can make it lasting.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Yeah, 100%.
So for me, like I'll give you a good example. When I was working at the college, life is good. We make good money. My wife works 2 full-time jobs. It's not a lack, but I never, being in the military and then being from New York and having no family here, I've never felt like I was giving back or could ever become that pillar of my community that those people I lived next to were. Never felt like I lived up to that because I wasn't connected with my community. I wasn't connected with small business. I wasn't connected locally. I keep a really small tribe because trust is hard to earn, and I keep it really small and intentional. So I wanted to become someone that gives back to our community. I wanted to be someone that was able to give to Make-A-Wish or to be involved in the Margarita Ball or whatever. I just wanted to become part of our community. And my avenue for that was to start a small business that could start generating jobs and revenue so that I could get plugged in with people. And the byproduct of that was I'm going to be able to pay off my house early.
100%.
Right?
Yeah.
But what it's turned into so I behaved my way out of that. I have this belief system about where I came from and what was important. Well, how I became someone that's giving back to our community it was through action.
Right.
It wasn't through thought.
Right.
It wasn't through my belief system.
Right.
It was about, what am I going to do?
Yeah.
So I built business plans and I tested them and I figured out what I wanted to do, and I created a strategy.
Yeah.
And now we fast forward 3 years and we've gone from making, we probably did $70,000, $80,000 our first year. We did 300 and some change last year.
Yeah.
We'll do
Crazy change.
300, 350 again this year, probably. But at the same time, we gave tens of thousands of dollars back into our community.
Right.
And I went from having a really small local tribe to having 55 small business owners that I would call family. And now I happen to be serving as the president of our local BNI group.
Yeah.
And I'm honored to be in that position, but it all happened because of behavior.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. No,
and where your model fits in is I'm getting the feeling that I desired.
Yeah.
Like that was your, like
Right.
you're going to reverse engineer it.
Yeah, yeah. And so what I would say that, like, in terms of, all right, so we're saying that behavior is behavior action, right?
Mm-hmm.
So all out, I guess what I would say is just like or in the belief system, right? So like, I feel like once you identify like, hey, I'm not happy with this, right? Or like, I want something different, then that's where, okay, what needs to change is still like a thought where it's like, I have to change this thing, then gets me this action. So like whatever that would be in terms of this example, right? But once you make that action and you get the success, that like, you're like, oh shit, I made it, like becoming, then that becomes part of your belief system that then changes that cycle again.
Yeah.
Because like, I feel like sometimes people do things or they don't do things because they don't believe it, right? Like they're like, I don't know if it's going to work out. But if you do take that small action, right, from the emotion of like, let me not feel this, or I want to do like you, like I want to feel connected to the community, that thought, right, then created the emotion that then created your action to actually do it. And then once you do it and you saw success, then it became that part of the belief system.
Then it becomes reinforced. And
Exactly.
Then you want to do a little bit more.
Exactly. And then it changes sort of that outcome of like not doing that or being that to now you are that and you did it the first year, now you're doing second, so.
How does failure fit in? How does failure fit in? I'm not challenging you. I'm asking 100%. Pragmatically.
No, that's good.
Because what if I didn't find success, but I was still trying to go in that direction?
Right. If your outcome, if you didn't find success in your outcome, but you were still trying to, yeah, right. That's a good. And I think I would just break it down again. It's like, well, what was the influence? What was the thought? What was the emotion in terms of that failure?
Maybe you chose the wrong behavior.
Yeah.
Or maybe you chose the wrong focus.
Correct.
Maybe you're not aiming in the right direction to get where you want to go.
Yeah.
So then you need to go back and go back to the loop again and try to figure out your next best step. Right?
And that's what I thought too when the guy mentioned, lead flow. And when I got to influence, I was like, oh man, maybe you don't have you have zero influence around that.
Mm-hmm.
Right. So that could be it. Like if you tried something and you failed at something, maybe there wasn't the correct influence. Like there wasn't a teacher or a mentor or, again, especially if someone has already done it, like, what are your thoughts? What are you thinking?
I think that having a mentor or a leader or someone that's willing to pour into you and give you some pragmatic steps or mentorship along the way. Mm-hmm. There's differences between hiring a coach or hiring a mentor or hiring a consultant. They all do similar things, but they do them a little bit differently.
Right.
If you're looking for success in a particular industry or in a particular field or whatever, you can go hire a generic business coach and they'll talk to you about revenue model.
Right.
And they'll map stuff out.
Correct.
But what you really need is a mentor that has walked that set of paver steps and they have experienced loss and they have walked through all of the heartache and they can help to coach you in the moments where you need coaching, but then help you lay out a plan based on their experiences so that you don't fall through the same traps.
Yeah, exactly. And then if you get in certain situations that they've been into, you already know how to like filter through the emotion, the action.
Yeah, for sure. And a really good coach, so a purist coach, they're here to help you get to your best end, whatever that is. They believe that you're already equipped with everything you need to be successful. They're just there to help unlock that for you. Purist coaching doesn't fit in every scenario.
Right.
Well, if you have this mentor that also has some great coaching skills, well, now they can start asking powerful questions to unlock your own potential, but they also will start asking you questions about what happens at this fork in the road.
Yeah. Right.
Let's start forecasting what is it going to feel like to get there. And when you do get there, if it's the outcome you're looking for, how's that going to look and feel? Versus if you don't get there and it doesn't go your way, well, what's that going to look and feel like? And then what is your next best step?
Right.
And if they can help to forecast it for you, you're not surprised by the emotional loop you get trapped in if you're not successful.
Exactly.
So it's finding someone that will do all three of those skills for you at different times, but aren't married to, you just need to do it my way.
Yeah.
And they're also not married to, well, you're totally equipped, and I think that you just need to figure this out for yourself, and let me help you do it.
Yeah.
So
I agree.
Yeah.
Which becomes an influence.
Yeah. So I love the word influence.
Yeah.
You can take any role in an organization, first, an employee or faculty member, frontline supervisor, senior manager, director, VP, entrepreneur, it doesn't matter who you are. Your goal is very simple. You want to create deep trust relationships over time so that you can help to influence people to better behavior.
Yes. Yeah.
That's it.
Yeah.
And if you filtered success through that,
that's great.
There's an awesome TED Talk by Frances Fry. She was an executive at Uber.
Okay.
She's a Harvard professor. I think she's tenured. She does this amazing talk, and she breaks down building trust and rebuilding trust into like this three-legged stool. And it starts with authenticity, empathy, and then logic. And authenticity, it's bringing your whole self all the time and not shying away from any particular part of your personality that someone might not find appealing. Like being authentically you and feeling comfortable in your skin. And then empathy, it's not just being able to really put yourself in someone else's shoes and what are they feeling, but it's more about, are you being present? Like, are you not distracted? Are you all in with them, with whoever you're with in the moment? And then logic, it's not about you just having sound logic, but how do you communicate your logic?
Yeah.
And communicating in a way so that you can get your point out and then give your reinforcement versus giving the long and winding tale that maybe nobody wants to know and never getting to your end.
Right.
And if you're going to wobble in trust, generally you're wobbling in empathy because you're not solely present and you're not able to identify the emotion that somebody else is going through.
Yeah.
So when you're building trust, so when I'm leading faculty or leading managers or whoever, and they say, well, this faculty member, this employee, or I'm having this problem, I stop them and I help them filter it through that model and say, I want you to think about your behavior and your thoughts and your belief system. Are you being 100% authentic when you're dealing with them, or do you feel guarded? Because if you feel guarded, they probably don't feel like they can trust you because you're not really showing them who you are.
Right.
Or are you really present with them, or are you really trying to understand where they're coming from? And if not, what's holding you back from really empathizing with them in the moment? And then think about how you communicate. Are you flexing to them? And if you're not flexing to their default communication style, then the problem's probably not with them. The problem's probably with you. So if you're going to create a change in a relationship, it's the person that has the knowledge that there's a problem.
The awareness.
It's your job to do something about it.
Right.
So I use that model. So when you think about build deep trust, and then the ability to influence and move behavior. Period.
Yeah. So I guess my follow-up to that would be, for each one of those, can you fit it into the architecture of like the outcome?
Sure.
And then like what's influencing them not to become like 100% themselves within that situation?
Yeah, for sure. Because now you have to dig in and you have to think about the emotional content. Where were the experiences and beliefs that led you up to that?
Right.
So that most of the time, if you have an authenticity problem, even an empathy problem, you have a bias issue. You've got a previous experience that has built a belief system that may or may not be true, that influence your ability to connect with somebody.
Right.
that hold you back into something.
Right. Previous situations and outcomes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so think about it. Somebody's been snarky to you or has been sharp with you. What's the likelihood that you are going to address them in a way that puts all of that out of your mind?
Yeah, 100%. Right. Exactly.
It's not.
Exactly.
It's going to nag. It's going to sit there.
Right.
And so to believe that people are inherently good, it's hard when you've had previous experience where someone has hurt you or harmed you or treated you sideways or not given you full trust or whatever. So
yes. Yep. Back to that whole loop.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that's where it's like I think a good example of that is the healthcare system, because I've seen it firsthand too, where like I typically I'm like I'm Wilson. it's I'm not your like normal like or whatever that means, right? But I remember one time we went in and it was something for Patty, and I was just trying to like have conversation, but they were like just very cold and so I was like, look. I get it. I understand that you probably get people in here that like are demanding and are upset and they're not whatever. They didn't get on time. Things are behind. Like, I understand that, but that's not me, right? So all I'm asking in like a broker is like, if you were me and this person was your other half or your husband, wife, all I'm asking is for you to like treat me the way if it were you. Mm-hmm. And that sort of like, it took them, it broke that little loop that they were going. And then I saw it change in their eyes, and then like they changed their demeanor in terms of what it was. And so I feel like in the medical thing, it's like, obviously it's fucked, right? It's a fucked up system here, I think, in the U.S. But I feel like what happens is because there's the person that needs care comes in, they're demanding, they're angry, they're upset, they're hurt. Then they sort of take it out on the doctors and nurses, the people that are actually facilitating like the medical services. And then they get jaded, mm-hmm. And then now that becomes like exactly what you're saying. That becomes their like way of being with the next person that comes in, and then if now they're being the way with that person that comes in, then now that person becomes the same person that comes in and is angry and upset at the medical doctors and nurses, mm-hmm. And so it's just this continuous loop of just anger, resentment, yeah. And it's structured by somebody like it's by some higher system that everyone's involved and they're all stuck in, right? So like that's the first thing that jumped to me when you were saying like that's I think it just becomes cycles of things that like again you go through influence and then what's the emotion, the thought, and then that shapes your behavior because like your action then over a long period of time becomes your behavior in certain
you just become biased to those situations. And in the medical field, well, it's just difficult all the way around, but,
right.
But they're not outcome obsessed, right? I mean, they are, and statistically they have outcome statistics on procedures and on right. people being seen and antibiotics and all those kinds right. of things, but they're not obsessed with your outcome.
Right.
They're not patient obsessed with right. what do I do to provide the best possible service for this person?
Yeah, to land their plane.
They're obsessed with, well, this is a 15-minute appointment slot. Yes. To make this profitable for us, we yes. need to turn in 15 minutes. Yes. And it becomes a customer service profitability loop. Yeah. And not a wellness plan.
Right. Which is crazy because you're part of the wellness. It's part of it's insane.
So I'm a huge. I mean, I know we're not here to plug our friends.
Yeah.
I use True Access Primary Care.
Shout out Dr. Lisa.
That's right. But I am covered. So I have full VA benefits.
Yeah.
For free.
Yeah.
I have a really phenomenal health care plan through our school that I work out with, Stacy, and we still choose to spend a few $100s a month, and it's not that much, guys, by the way. But with Lisa, she treats our entire family because we get concierge service that is, I never have ever felt like a number, and I've never felt like I was rushed, and I've always felt like I was cared for in a way that was deeper than going to my primary care with the VA.
Yeah.
I'm fighting with the VA right now to give them my medical records from Lisa to get some standardized tests done so that I could see what's going on.
Yeah.
And I'm fighting tooth and nail for them to just follow through for weeks because it's bureaucratic.
Isn't that crazy?
Yeah. So, and with Lisa, I could text her at 9 o'clock on a Saturday and say I have a sinus infection. And tomorrow morning, those prescriptions are
I know.
sitting there.
I know.
So
Yeah. So shout out to Dr. Lisa.
yeah, she's phenomenal. She's literally changed the lives of some of our family members.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow. Very good. What a testimonial.
Yeah. And I'll use her forever and ever.
Yeah. She's just a great human being. All right. So let's go back. No, you're good. back to what we were talking about. I agree. So I think. All right. I would say yes. I would also say at the end of the day, it's always going to boil down to those couple of things of thought, influence thought, emotion, right? Because I feel like that ultimately creates our systematic loop of belief. Because I feel belief comes when you either do something and you succeed, or you do something and don't succeed, right? And so So again, when you boil it down, it's like, okay, why did you try it? Why did you try that thing? Why did you try to succeed? Right? There's got to be some sort of push there. And then if you do, then all of a sudden it becomes that behavior that you're actually changing the behavior. Like, oh shit, I did it. Let me do it again.
Yeah.
And let me do it again. And that's what I was saying between change level 1, 2, and 3 of change, like you do it, right? So level 1, you're unaware. Level 2, you're aware. And then you sometimes make the decision. Level 3, you're completely there, but then you sustain it. Right. So I feel like level 2, you're aware, you make that change, you become successful, but are you good enough to sustain it if like a certain situation comes up and you're not ready for it? Or, you get upset. Like if again, your behavior is like anytime something goes wrong, instead of filtering through an emotion, you like spaz out. You do that in business, it succeeds. You spaz out the wrong person, it can, or client or something, and then it can destroy you. Right. So I just feel like yes, behavior for sure. And yes, taking the action. But at the end of the day, like there's always going to be like, what is the influence of why you're making those decisions? And then the behavior just becomes the thing that you do repetitively, whether it's successful or not, or you succeed in that situation or not, or you get the outcome that you want or not.
Yeah. Why is a tricky question. Because Simon Sinek tells us that we should begin with why all the time, right? Because why drives us, and then the what and how, those kinds of things. It's I have to be careful using why and self-reflection, and I'm super careful using why if I'm trying to coach or mentor someone else. Because the word why has a defensive connotation to it when you ask it in the wrong way.
Right. Why?
Right?
Yeah.
It's so you immediately get set back and become defensive about it.
Yeah.
So I try to reframe why as what as much as I can. So why did I do that is different than, well, what were the steps that led me down that path to begin with?
Exactly.
It reframes it in my head, because if I start asking why I did it, I get into this negative spiral, this negative loop that's tough for me to get out sometimes, because I'm reflecting in a way that's making me defend my behavior versus trying to figure out what were the best steps for me, or how can I reframe it to do something different.
Yeah, like with the white is almost systematic versus why is emotional.
Yeah, it is. And it just helps lead me in a path that's a little more positive.
Yeah.
When I was at the contracting firm, I was making more money than I ever made in my life. I had a couple of Mercedes in the driveway, had 2 healthy kids, beautiful wife, live on the water in Palm Coast, had a boat, brand new boat in the backyard. If you were to look in from the outside, you'd have thought, man, they've got everything and their world is just phenomenal. And I was miserable. And I was working 80 hours a week. I had people traveling the country 7 days a week to do work. Everything was high stakes. Everything was about revenue. Everything was about profit potential. Nothing was about people, and nothing was centered on holistic wellness. It was always to get to the profit potential or the revenue.
Yeah.
And I started researching happiness, and there's a guy, Sean Acker, wrote a book, the Happiness Advantage, and he's also got a talk that it's the happy secret to better work. And in that book, he talks about being an adult in America. We are predisposed to look at the world through a negative context, because as an adult, you are here to solve problems. So you identify problems, you solve those problems, you get rewarded for solving problems, then you have some attainment, and then we take whatever that attainment, that goal, and then we push the goalpost even further away. So cognitively, you never get to realize what winning feels like. And then now you're forced to go find more problems to fix.
Right. That's definitely a loop for sure.
And I was trapped in it. And there's a couple of exercises in the book. There's some reflective exercises like it, each night before you go to bed, journal 3 positive things from the day, and they could be anything. Yeah. And when I first started journaling, I didn't have anything.
Whoa.
Like I sat for 30 minutes thinking through my day about the positive things, and I realized I didn't have them. I wasn't filtering that way. And after about 3 weeks, I realized that I was now filtering my entire life through this lens of positivity and looking for those moments to identify. And I stopped looking for the problems and what it led to is I was recognizing employees more. I was recognizing the value of my family. I was more plugged in with my church. I was praying more and in my Bible more and doing all the things that I needed to have that needed more priority in my life in a positive way. And it unlocked that knowing that I didn't have to live that way. And then I started leading that way, and our employee engagement went up and our results went up. And then when I left the contracting firm, I've never maintained relationships past a job. But I still meet with that group once every month for lunch. And they're still really tight, really close people now. So it helped me to shape different relationships and to treat people differently. And so it was powerful for me. And now I think in my soul that it was a turning point in my adult life to where, because I don't really view people, employees, as people. I view them as a means to the end that I need to get to.
Right.
And my default is, what is your capacity and how can I exploit it? Not how can I build a relationship with you that will survive this.
Right.
And now I build relationships that will survive the outcome.
Wow.
So it's a little different now.
Yeah. Well, you heard it here first. That was amazing. That was amazing. Yeah, it's really good.
Well, I don't know if it's amazing. It's just what I lived.
No, right. All right. So what made you pick up that book?
It's miserable.
When did you realize that you were miserable?
It was when attainment didn't fulfill it anymore. It's when the physical and the money and the things weren't making me happy. It was always about looking for the next thing. It was the next boat or the next fishing rod or the next thing to try to fill that void and happiness. And when the things aren't doing it, you have to find other things to invest in. And I had to figure out how to break the cycle. And for me, it was a realization that the cycle is even there. That
right. Awareness.
I had to know.
Yeah.
And then I started to change.
Yeah.
Over time. And it started with small behaviors. It started with journaling. It started with exercises. It started with a little bit of quiet time in the morning. Yes. It started with morning routines, and now I created stronger routines, and then from there I built onto time management skills and how do I really get a great ROI out of the time that I am spending. So now I'm really efficient. The senior managers I work with at Western Governors are the best people I've ever worked with in my life. And they're some of my closest friends. And they probably work 3 times harder than I do in some ways because I have streamlined and created efficiency because I've developed other people and I just have a different philosophy on how I lead.
Yeah.
So, but I can honestly say those people will be friends for life. And it started with knowing that I was miserable. I needed to change. I needed to change. So.
Well, guess what they say? Nothing changes until you do, Rob.
That's
Nothing
right.
changes until you do.
It's 100% the truth.
Yeah.
You can sit in the same cycle and the same death spiral of thought, or you can decide to behave your way out of it.
Yeah, exactly. And that's what I'm saying. So for you, you became aware that, hey, this outcome I'm not happy with.
Yeah.
Right? like I'm not happy with this outcome, so I have to change something. And then that's where you looked at like what is it, right? You started becoming like more aware of like I got to figure that out.
Mm-hmm.
And so if your previous, like I guess, actions or things that you were doing in terms of buying things and having that stuff, you're like, this doesn't fulfill me anymore. I need something different. I need something new. Then it became a whole new influence, thought, emotion that then
For sure.
then what do you call it? Like just reinforced your new actions, like the reading, the journaling,
All those things.
Yeah.
And when I feel like I'm losing touch, I have to go back to back to the same well again.
Yes.
And realize, and sometimes it's not the same resource, but it's the same well of trying to figure out what am I missing?
Yeah, and I think the modalities could be different for everybody. Like sometimes maybe it's not journaling right away, but maybe it's sitting alone, or it's doing the reading the book, or having the conversation with like your wife, or something along those lines. I feel like it's always, but you can always revert back to it. Like journaling for me, I feel like when there's a lot of stuff going on and I can journal for a couple days, it absolutely helps. And then like I'm good for like a week or a week and a half, and then I go back to it. What do you do now? Like, do you have a system or process in the morning and then evening time?
And I'm not as good with my morning and evening rituals because I'm working so many. Like this morning, I was up at 5:30. I did some code changes to a project I was working on. And I was out of the house at 6:45, and I did my first exterior cleaning job at 7:20, and I was done with that at 9:20. And then I took a shower and I started my WGU day at 10, and then I worked WGU until the end of the day.
And now we're here.
And I'm here. I'm not as good with that because, what's in its place is structure around, well, what does my week look like coming up? What are my strategies? What are my big 3 rocks that I need to accomplish this week? What are my non-negotiables? And then the notebook I use, I start answering questions like, is there one person in my sphere that I can honor this week in a way that would be good for them? Is there someone this week that I need to pour into that I should invest in?
Wow.
Is there, if I don't do this week would not be life-giving to me. Like, what would I miss? So I just do those things at the beginning of the week. And I try to do them on Fridays. So I kind of close out my week, do some reflection, and then I foreshadow what does next week look like and what do I want next week to look and feel like for me. And then at the end of every quarter, the managers that I work with and their teams, so everyone takes a day of rejuvenation and reflection. And at first, teaching them how to reflect was like, look, just answer these 3 questions and take 20 minutes and then go fishing. Like go do something that's not sitting at your desk. Take a reflection day. And now we've been doing this for years. So now we take half a day of reflection and strategy and looking back at the previous quarter and setting goals for next quarter. And then what is that going to look and feel like for us? Then we do after everyone's done a reflection day, then we get together and we do a retreat together where we take all of our reflection days and put them out on the table. And we do a start, stop, continue, and what's working for us and what's not, and what should we start doing, and what are our big priorities, and how do we do based on last quarter. And then we start planning it out so that we understand what our big 3 are for that next quarter. And those big 3 rocks get moved into our weekly plans. They get worked into our daily plans. So that gives us
like your North Star.
Yeah, because then you have something you're charging towards. And then if you're not quite sure what you should be focused on, you go back to your big 3 and you say, is what I'm doing right now
Does this align, right?
And if it's not, then we readjust.
Got it.
So
very good framework.
So it's the framework itself comes from a couple of different books. But
you basically put it together.
Yeah, Michael Hyatt's Free to Focus. I'm doing a book club at BI right now, Free to Focus. I've been doing that since I've been at the school, and I've probably become 40% more efficient because I exercise delegation and empowerment, and I know how to say no, and I manage the white space in my calendar, those kind of things.
Yeah, which I think is huge for people that like aren't doing that currently. Like being able to say no and manage your white space in the calendar, I think is something that doesn't. I don't think it's like a well-known framework that most people are practicing.
You have to. So first, you have to realize that if you say yes you're saying no to everything else.
Mm.
If you say yes to one thing, you're systematically saying there's nothing else that's more important than what I'm doing right now.
Yeah, like today, like
this is it. Yeah. There was nothing on my calendar. There was nothing more important than this time with you today.
That's very meaningful.
Right. So it's so you have to be able to, and if you're going to say no, you have to say no in a way that's honoring to someone else, reinforcing that you appreciate what they're bringing to the table. Maybe helping them find another resource or point them in a right direction for something else. So you say no the right way.
Right. So like, go fuck yourself.
Yeah. I try not to do that.
That's amazing.
And then managing your white space on your calendar is asking yourself, is this what I'm doing right now giving me the most amount of return on my own investment?
Yeah.
And if the answer is no, well, what should I be doing?
And is it own investment in terms of like financial and also like health?
All the things.
Yeah, all the things, right?
Yeah, there's this fallacy that you can manage your time. It's totally false.
Right.
What you can do is, your time is finite. Everybody has the same amount of it.
That's right.
So what you can do is manage your energy and understanding that you want to give yourself the best of the energy that you have to offer. So if I'm going to spend time, energy, and money on my own investment, it doesn't get my leftover at 10 o'clock at night. It gets my prime energy at 8 o'clock in the morning.
Yeah, it makes sense.
So you develop this context for, like in Michael Hyatt's book, he talks about there's 3 ways of viewing your time. Offstage time, that's totally yours, that nobody else gets to dictate.
Right.
You do what you need to do in that time. Backstage time, that's time where you're spent in reflection and in strategy and developing systems and doing all the things that it takes to support and run your business well, that if you don't do those things, your business won't function well. But you need dedicated time to do that.
Right.
And then on-stage time that's time to go. That's meeting with clients, business development, in front of people, presentations, all the things, the operations of your business in front of people.
Yeah, like the do.
So So if you start putting your calendar together in a way to say, look, I want at least 20 principle, right? 20% of my time has to be backstage strategy, business, life-giving type activities. Now, where do those fall into your calendar, and when is the best part of your energy to do that? So, like for me, Thursdays is a backstage day, business development day. I'm doing things that feel on stage, like leading a B&I group, but that's my time to work on my business and in my strategy. So that's a day I do one-on-ones. That's a day that I do planning and all those kinds of things. I don't do any pressure washing business like on a job on a Thursday.
Right. Okay.
But Friday, it's time to go. It's an on-stage day. We're in full operational mode. Matter of fact, if you reach out to me Friday, Saturday, Sunday, there's a good chance you're going to get my AI assistant and you're not going to get me because I am full operation on stage.
Yeah, right. Yeah, very good. Yeah, I love that. It's in my, like, I'm just processing because I'm trying to figure out, like, for me what that, because I have those days, right? I have this, but I haven't identified them in a way of like, oh, this is my operational day. You know, just more of like, oh, this is the day I'm going to do X, Y, and Z. But it makes sense too, especially if you can like wrap your brain around like a week, then maybe 2 weeks out, like where you're going to put your time.
Which, if you had to label one day as your best, most productive day of the week when it comes to your energy, what day would that be?
Monday or Tuesday. Yeah. Monday or Tuesday usually. Most
people would say that because it's the beginning of the week. You feel reset from the weekend.
Yeah.
You've done life-giving things over the weekend that breathe life back into you.
Yep.
So you've done your rejuvenation. Now it's time to go.
Yeah.
So Monday is a backstage day for me for the college. The only appointments that are allowed on my calendar are the ones that I let be there. So one is a senior manager meeting with my peers that is the best meeting of the week because they're my best friends and we help to support each other and create plans and strategy.
Yeah.
And a meeting with my managers that I lead because I don't ever want them to be behind when it comes to getting information. I want to be in front of them as soon as I can.
Yeah.
Every other piece of white space on my calendar that day is only dictated by me saying yes. So I'm hoping nobody at work hears this today. But today I had one meeting on my calendar. It was that senior manager meeting. And I canceled my manager meeting because other people had conflicts and I didn't want to waste their time. So I legitimately have 160 employees. I came into a handful of emails and I had one 1-hour meeting on my calendar, and the rest of the day was mine. But that's only because I have boundaries,
right,
systems.
Right, exactly. And I think for people that don't, what would be a good first step?
First, I would read Michael Hyatt's Free to Focus stop managing your time and trying to multitask. Because multitasking is false. You lose 30% of your productivity in task switching when you try to do tasks. It's different tasks that use different parts of your brain. So you want to become streamlined. So you do like tasks. So if I'm coding a program and I'm in the middle of doing that program, I am not jumping back and forth between code writing and compiling, and I'm not
washing dishes.
I'm not doing those things.
Right.
I'm doing one singular thing at a time, and I'm going to do that well. So if I'm starting something from scratch, I'm not just going to start coding. I'm going to go back and we're going to build a reference document and a requirements document that outlines what we want to do and what our goals are going to be. So I do all the strategy up front. I don't do the strategy as you don't build the plane while you're flying it.
Yeah, right, exactly. That's a good example. I feel like sometimes I do that. I'm working on that, but I feel like sometimes, and I don't know if it's how my brain works too, like the ADHD that you're talking about, but you seem to be able to harness it in these closed container loops where it's like, this is what I'm doing, I'm all in, and then nothing else other than that until I'm ready to, till it's either the next day or this time cut off.
You are more creative than I am. You've got a creative brain that you will start a project and you'll dream about what the end of it's going to look like, but you'll get in the middle of it and realize it's time to pivot because creatively it's not meeting my expectation.
Time, effort, all that stuff.
I will do those things, but I'll go back to my source document and say, okay, well, what is this going to affect downstream of that? So we're just wired.
No, it's valid though. It's valid.
Just wired differently. I'm not creative. I can create some things, right? But have to be solving the problem.
Right.
I'm not going to just dream something up and be like, I think we need to, whatever.
Right along. Right.
It's, I don't know, man.
Okay, very good.
What's, you are a spiritual hype man, and you are externally to the world one of the most positive people and engaging people I've ever met.
I appreciate that.
First time I ever met you was at a BNI group, and you didn't meet me. I met you because I watched you from a distance, and I watched how you commanded the attention of a room in a way where people not only wanted to hear what you had to say, but genuinely cared for you. And I was like, I need to know who that guy is. So then we shook hands and we met, but that was my first impression.
Wow.
So
thanks, man. That means a lot.
Well, it's the truth, though. That's what you were putting out into the world that morning.
Have you? I guess in noticing me, have you seen patterns of different changes or not hitting that? And then what do you think? What do you think? What's your perspective on that?
I think that you are less genuinely you when you are backed into a corner to produce. I don't know what your business looks like on paper, but I feel the difference in your presentation of being, when you're trying to get to an end, it's more about you getting what you need to do to get done to meet your end. And it's less about who you are and what you're bringing to the table.
100%.
And not selling. You stop selling your individual value and what you bring, and you start selling a product. And
you're right.
And you're the differentiator. Your product's not.
Right.
Because I can go find an AI engine or another guy that's cut rate on Fiverr to do what you do.
Right.
But what you bring is you and your content and your flair and your engagement.
My spiritual hypeness.
That's what you bring. So in your industry, my advice would be to sell you.
And that's one thing I've always had an issue, because it's all right, how do I wrap myself in a container and then sell that differentiator?
Well, unfortunately, your business is not as scalable as my business.
Right. Correct.
Your bucket just stays smaller because so the way that you scale is you scale in size of project, you scale in scope, you scale, but reproducing your creative engine is very difficult.
Mm.
So if I was trying to scale your business, it would be, well, I know you're not asking, but it would be in getting you out of everything that doesn't have to do with business development and creative arts, like creative energy.
Yeah.
Getting you out of every bit of the minutia that doesn't bring you life and isn't going to drive your projects forward.
Yeah.
And then getting to the place where you can scale all of your processes efficiently.
Right. And I've just become the
brain behind, like that's your scalability.
Yeah.
Because the longer you're editing and the longer you're in doing your slides or your concepts and and people aren't pitching it to you, you're harnessed.
Yeah. I agree, 100%. Yes.
It's not right, man. I don't have all the options. I read all the answers.
No, but you're definitely spot on. You're definitely spot on for sure. And that's actually what I'm working on now, is just figuring out, okay, like I've identified that, and then just really, okay, like where should I put most of my energy, so that way, I'm
at a different position because I'm scared to scale at the moment, because I've never advertised. I've never put myself out there. I've not done any grassroots marketing at any job that I'm at, because I'm balancing all of the things all of the time right now. And there'll be a time in the future I won't need to balance, and I will be 100% all in this business.
Yeah.
So everything I'm doing now is in preparation for that all-in moment.
Yeah.
But when it happens, I need to do the advice I just gave you. Is where I need to be. I need to be all in on business development, all in on building relationships, all in on. But I'm selling a tangible product that's a lot easier to sell.
Right.
So I'll get there.
Yeah.
Or I won't. Like you either do or you don't.
Yeah, you either do or you don't. That's right. You either do or you don't do it. And so that's why I think with what we were talking about, like even just the CRM, I'm going to show you what I have. And that's why I realized with you, it's the same thing. It's like I'm able to put my processing power, how I would think of something, even if it's a partly creative in terms of what my framework is when it comes to marketing strategy, or what my framework is when it comes to like actually creating the video. Like I've been able to put that into a wrapper, into my own internal CRM, that I think at some point this could be something that then I can scale to similar type people that are in that creative sort of video / almost like agency type thing, so but you're 100% right. Okay, so what kind of advice would you give me, or anybody else that like is in a similar position, that you've seen me be able to like be at that level of in that room where people are like, whoa, and then you've also seen me not? What would be like, what kind of advice would you give me there?
Well,
like, even if shit's hitting the fan, like just go fucking get your fucking spiritual hype man like ask.
Sometimes you fake it till you make it. But think about it this way. We go back to that trust model that I was talking about earlier. What are you missing? Authenticity, empathy, or logic? Because that's what you're giving up. You're giving up your ability to connect with someone in a trusting way at its core, right?
Yeah, I've always had that. I always had that battle between like.
It's that, I'll tell you, from my perspective, it's the authenticity.
Right.
Because you're talking about something that is not what you're in love with.
Right. And it's just more like, hey, I gotta fucking pay my bills.
Let's go. I gotta pay my bills. And hey, I've heard it in your voice.
Yeah.
I've heard it in your voice. Like, don't you all understand don't you all understand the value that I bring?
Yeah.
That's what I hear.
Yeah.
Don't you understand how easy this is and what a value this is, and nobody's doing it?
Yeah.
Like, that's what I hear.
Yeah.
But what's coming out of your mouth is, hey, we've got this ride-along product, and hey, we're expanding it, or whatever.
Yeah.
But the subcontext is, you're not buying.
Yeah, it's very, and I feel like sometimes it's hard to communicate that. Like, how do I communicate? Like, because I feel like a lot of people, when they do meet me and I'm at that bash, like they're like, wow, that is that like a similar. There's something about this guy. How do I, like, how do you productize that? You don't, right? I don't think you don't. Like, you just become like a Rick Rubin.
Well, but you don't want to be fake at the other end of the spectrum either. Right. Like, being real with what you feel and what you're driving towards is real. Like, you're not trying to not be authentically you and try to pay your bills either.
Right.
But it's just a matter of, Michael Hyatt talks about operating within your desire zone.
Right.
And the opposite of that is your drudgery zone. So drudgery is the things that you don't like to do and you're not proficient at. But your desire zone is the things that you're proficient in and that you love to do.
Right.
And when you're speaking at your best and presenting at your best, you're talking about the things that you're really proficient at and that you're really invested in, that you love to do.
Yeah.
That's the intersection.
Yeah.
So when you're there, you're authentically you in your most positive way.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So it comes across and it's infectious.
Yeah.
You can tell when you stand up. You can tell by your body language.
Yes. I can tell, like, in the moment. In the moment, like, fuck.
And also, sometimes you come incredibly prepared.
Yeah.
Like, you've thought about it. You've got this really cool idea to deliver your point.
Yeah.
And then other times you stand up and your eyes float up and to the right because you're processing about the right way to say what you're about to say, or you haven't been ready in the moment.
Yeah.
So you're figuring it out on the fly.
Yeah.
And that holds you back too.
Yeah. Yeah. Very good. Very good.
I don't know. It's very good.
No, it's very good, man. It's absolutely very good. Because like that's everything internally I know. Internally I know that shit.
When I was in government contracting, I was a professional facilitator and a coach, and for a year we taught the TSA behavioral detection officers supervisory skills. These are the guys that sit in plain clothes that are in the line with you that you don't know are TSA agents, and it's their job to read body language and to identify threats. So you don't know that they're there.
Yeah.
So you're teaching a group of people that know body language and kinesiology better than anybody else in the world.
Yeah.
And you're there to deliver content that you may or may not fully agree with.
Mm-hmm.
This dichotomy of, so the only way to win them over was to study kinesiology and use it on them in the class and identify their behaviors.
Right.
So it led me down this path of being able to identify basic kinesiology things.
Yeah,
like,
100%.
Like,
up and to the right.
Up and to the right. And what is their brain processing? And what does their body language say? And I did it with somebody a couple of weeks ago.
Yeah.
I think it was a BNI function.
Yeah.
4 guys were standing together in a circle, all standing at like 45-degree angles. Nobody's like shoulders head on, squared up.
Right.
There's no threats. Everything's happening.
Right.
And we watched a woman walk up to the group, and immediately she walks. Yeah. So one guy pivots, squares up with her, has a very direct communication. The group all shifted, and just watching the dynamics of how behavior is ingrained is just it intrigues me. Yeah. But it goes back to that teaching that class.
Yeah, no, I'm right there with you. I think innately I'm very good at that at times where like if I'm talking to you or just in a group setting, I can sort of feel like the energy or kind of feel like what's going on. And then if someone's, even with our kiddo Ozzy, like recently, like we're having a conversation and then I can tell when he's not being genuine or when he's not telling the truth, right? Like there's like these little nuances where we're just like, no, man, like, come on, just, so I've understood that too. That's very good, Rob. Very cool.
What, anything else? I think I've just kind of spewed for an hour.
No, I think it's great. Do you have, I guess last words, if someone is going through, what's something that you've gone through that was, sort of emotionally or a situation where you're not really happy with, like maybe even going back to when you were doing with the job, if someone is going through that similar like situation now, what would you give them in terms of feedback and maybe a framework to do to get themselves out or change that behavior?
Well, I think you talked about first you have to have this awareness, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then you have to decide if you're going to do something about it, whether it's worth it to you to build momentum enough or inertia enough to make a change. And if you feel like I think the worst feeling in the world is feeling stuck. Like feeling like you don't have options. You don't want to move forward and you're comfortable where you are, or you're comfortable enough where you are so you're scared to make that change or to do something that upsets that apple cart because you're not quite sure what's on the other side of it. And I think I felt that way. I felt stuck in a moment. And what I realized is that every time that I felt stuck, if I had the courage to take a stand or take a step in a direction that was less stable, I always came out better on the other side. That I was always better for exercising the courage to move in a direction that I felt compelled to move in versus feeling like I needed to be trapped where I am. And I'm kind of going through some of that with college right now. Like I make a really good living, and I love the people I work with, and it's the best organization I've ever worked for in my life. And I have zero reason to leave. Zero. None.
Yeah.
But I don't know that I'm going to reach my full potential as an entrepreneur and as a person in my community and as a coach if I take the easy way of staying where I am. And I feel like the first step for me is having the courage to take the step and then following through with my whole heart. So I would say stand firm and have the courage to take the step, to make the move. And if it doesn't work out, Eric Libby did a quote the other day at BNI that was basically...
Shout out, Eric.
Yeah, it was, to sum it up, it was like all these great people that have built amazing businesses and succeeded beyond all what they could have ever imagined failed more than they succeeded. So if you have the courage to take a step and it doesn't work, you're not the first person to ever go down that path. And there's great example of people that have overcome it. So have courage and take the step. Don't feel stuck, because if you feel stuck and you don't take any action, you're just going to stay where you are.
That being said, guys, thanks for joining us. This was a great one. Thank you, Rob, for hanging out with us.
Of course.
Giving us the intentional time and moments here.
Now you've got the whole story. So next time we're going to talk about airplanes and fishing, or
next time we'll be up in the sky. No, we'll continue talking this stuff. We can talk about airplanes and fishing. Guys, thank you again for tuning in. Make sure you comment, share. Appreciate it. If they want to hire you for pressure washing.
Sure. So we own ExoPro Pressure and Software Solutions. We are smarter, safer, and simply superior than anybody else in the market.
Obviously.
We fly drones to clean tall buildings and handle residential and commercial work. And you can find us at exoprosolutions.com.
Let's go. Thank you guys again for tuning in again. And don't forget, nothing changes until you do. We'll see you again on the next one. Peace. All right, my brother.